At 12:41 a.m. on the 1st of February 2020, the first COVID case was reported in the United Kingdom. On the 27th of February, the Chief Medical Officer Chris Whitty tells the media that mass gatherings such as sports events and concerts may have to be cancelled and schools perhaps closed for more than 2 months if the UK is badly hit by the virus. On the 3rd of March, advice is given to avoid shaking hands and hugging, and increased importance was being placed on washing one's hands carefully, singing happy birthday twice as you did so. On the 16th of March, modellers at Imperial College London found the critical care capacity in the UK would be overwhelmed by a coronavirus outbreak, with the potential of 250,000 people dying unless social distancing protocols were put in place quickly. That afternoon, the Prime Minister advised the public to avoid unnecessary contact and travel and stay away from pubs and theatres. On the 18th of March, the government announces the closure of all schools until further notice. On the 23rd of March, all advice on social distancing now becomes legally mandatory. A UK lockdown is announced by the Prime Minister on national television. A year like none other had begun.
We come together today to mark the anniversary of the first lockdown, which began 1 year ago. This day of reflection has been suggested by the charity Marie Curie to acknowledge the huge number of people who have lost their lives during the last year due to COVID infection, and the effect that has had on all who knew and loved them. As that first lockdown began, traffic fell silent. Children and adults stayed at home. We washed our hands and tried to protect the NHS. In the silence, we heard the birds singing more clearly as spring turned into summer, and the air in many parts of the world became clear. In fear of infection, we took refuge in our homes and sacrificed our freedom to meet with others, while in our hospital ICUs up and down the country, people were fighting for their lives. Sadly, to date, just over 126,000 people have not made it home. And for many, the last they saw of their loved ones was as they were taken away in an ambulance. The devastating virus has taken the lives of husbands, wives and life partners, mothers, fathers, grandparents, sons, daughters, sisters, brothers, friends and neighbours. Each person unique, valued and loved. Family and friendship networks have been broken, sadly, some more than once. And the opportunity to celebrate the lives of our loved ones in funerals has been curtailed. Throughout this year, those who needed hospital support were tended to with utmost compassion and nursed with care and respect. And for this, we give our sincere thanks. Yet, through no fault of their own at such a fragile time in their life, those who were dying were separated from the love and support of their own loved ones. Loving God, you hold all our times in your hands, our past, our present, our future. Be close to us now as we remember all the difficulties and sadness of the past year. Be especially close to those who are thinking of someone they knew, loved or respected. Help us to trust that they have found peace with you, and comfort us all with your presence. Amen. During this year, many thousands have become ill with COVID. Although the most seriously ill eventually left hospital, at best they have needed time and perseverance to regain strength. And for some, their suffering has continued as long COVID. Confidence in previous health and strength has been shaken. Yet the hope remains that recovery will be possible. For others, this year has brought emotional trauma, an increase in anxiety and depression, made worse by breakdown of support networks, financial instability, food hunger, and desperate loneliness. Residents in our care homes, cared for by loyal and devoted carers, have missed visits and hugs from familiar family. And sometimes in their disorientation, they've missed people to hold their hands in the darkness. For home carers, help from family members and respite care became impossible, placing a huge burden on the shoulders of their next of kin. And for us all, something we have come to call the sacrament of touch. What has been missing is the simple blessing of a hug. Loving God, for many this last year has been filled with exhaustion and struggle. As we acknowledge the times of difficulty and darkness, help us also to remember the unexpected shafts of warmth and light in the gift of small acts of kindness, calls from family and friends, food parcels left on our step, messages of support. We thank you for the times when this has sustained us, and pray that you would give us the grace to share your light and your love with others. Amen. For many, the memory of the last year will be one of lost opportunity to do the things we had planned, to celebrate a wedding or baptism, a special birthday or anniversary. For others, the worry has been loss of employment, job insecurity, or financial stability. For children and young people, it's been their chance for unbroken education and time to spend with their friends. Families have been unable to meet, to share food, laughter and hugs. Children have grown and developed, unseen and unhugged by grandparents, cousins, aunts and uncles. Family bonds have been strained, especially for those who've been trying to work and homeschool their children at the same time. Loving God, you place us in families and communities. Thank you for all those around us who help us in so many ways. Give wisdom to community leaders, to our schools and colleges, hospitals and medical services, care homes and others who make such a difference to our lives. Help us to have the courage to reach out with thanks and kindness to those around us, and to speak words of faith and trust as we share the good news of your light and your love. Amen.
As we remember all that has happened in the past 12 months, those things which have made us sad, those things which have brought us some sense of relief and joy, we keep a minute of silence.
As we mark this anniversary with its restrictions, its sadness and its loss, we turn now to look forward to the future in hope and in trust. We give thanks for the blessings of vaccines and all who have continued to develop their use, for small acts of generosity and love which have surprised and inspired us, for thousands of pairs of scrubs, for material that was gifted and lovingly sown, for the food gifted to food banks, for cakes baked and miles walked in aid of charity, for the blessing of our gardens and open spaces, for sunshine and for moonlight, the sound of birdsong and children playing, the lengthening days and the signs of spring. Loving God, as we journey on towards another Easter, help us to live as people of hope, knowing that beyond the pain of the cross lies the joy of resurrection. Inspire us in our worship, through our churches and in our homes, that we may bring glory to you and joy to others. Be with those who are struggling in mind, body or spirit. Comfort the bereaved and give courage to those who face a future of uncertainty and change. Help us to keep our eyes fixed on you, that we may continue to reflect your light and love in our lives. Amen.